So Marjorie Taylor Greene is really upset at those of us who calls Donald Trump an insurrectionist, and she's even more upset at those of us who calls her an insurrectionist. And she says we should all just be ashamed of ourselves. Shame on us for saying something like that. Well, to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I would say this: the only thing we're ashamed of is the fact that you're an insurrectionist. And we're ashamed of the fact that you have a voice in Washington and that you continue to be a bully and you continue to be a blithering idiot every day of your life. We are ashamed and we are embarrassed for you. That's what I would say to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I would also say we refuse to be gaslit. We're never going to forget January 6th, and we're never going to forget it for what it was and for what it still is. You see, I really believe that on that day, Donald Trump and all these MAGA Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they really believed that if they staged some sort of big political theater, because that's all that MAGA is about anyway. I mean, they're all about cosplay. I've said it before, they're the WWE. They're just dying to cosplay a phony fight. That's what they're trying to do. I really believe they thought if we organize this big event and we get all these people gathered here, then we can go in there, being the bullies we are, and we can bully Mike Pence and we can bully our government into just handing the election back over to Donald Trump. And their cult outside was so narrow-minded that they thought that's how it really worked. But then the little MAGA bit got out of hand and everything went to hell. And when it did, and they started seeing people get drug out by the heads and windows getting knocked in and doors getting knocked down, then it was like, oh, whoa, wait, we gotta do something quick. We gotta pivot. So they did. They just flipped the script. They just tried to recreate the narrative because Donald Trump already had the cult pre-programmed to never believe what they see and to never believe what they hear, to never believe what they read. So all they had to say was, this was the Democrats. The Democrats did this to make us all look bad, and they knew that the cult would just fall right in line. And since then, we've had to sit and listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene call these insurrectionists hostages and call them patriots. And they're running for office, and she's out there supporting them and talking about what great people they are. And if she didn't think she was an insurrectionist, why did she ask for a pardon? No, I'm not going to be ashamed for calling it for exactly what it was. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump and all of MAGA, the only thing that they've ever accomplished in this world, they have done a masterful job at bastardizing the word Republican. They have bastardized the word American. They have bastardized the word Christian. They have bastardized the word patriot. They've even bastardized the word hostages. They have took all those words and they've tried to redefine them to fit their own egos, and the rest of us aren't falling for it for a second. We're not going to back down from a bully who bullies children who were at schools when their friends got unalived. We're not going to sit there and back down from someone who has not 1 ounce of empathy or compassion in her entire body. She can be the bully all day long. She can be the pit bull all day long. But for those of you who are new to the channel, I've made this analogy before. For those of you that have heard it before, you're just going to have to sit through it again. But it's worth pointing out. The only way that you ever beat a bully is to stand up to him. You can't run from them, because the more you run from them and the farther you try to get away from them, the more powerful they get. They have a better shot at swinging at you. So I always use this analogy. Mike Tyson ran over everybody in the 80s because they all thought that if they could just run from him, they could get away from his power. But what did they do? They gave him opportunity to lunge, and he knocked their heads off. Buster Douglas came out and he said, no, I'm not gonna run from him. And he got right up on him and he just stayed there. And he didn't back down and he didn't stop. And when Tyson hit him, he just took it and he kept walking. And when he got knocked down, he got up. And when he got back up off the floor, that's the moment that Mike Tyson lost that fight. That is the moment that the fight really, truly ended. I mean, he just finished Tyson off later and knocked him out. But the fight ended when Buster Douglas got up, dusted himself off, and looked back at Mike Tyson. That's what we have to do to Marjorie Taylor Greene and to Donald Trump. When they knock us down, we just have to get up and dust ourselves off and stand there and look at them and say, we ain't going nowhere. You can run your mouth and you can be a loudmouth all day long. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to call you for exactly what you are, an insurrectionist. And as long as you go out here and you keep palling around with these people and you keep calling them patriots and hostages, we're going to point out every day how that you're bastardizing the word patriot, how that you're bastardizing the word hostages, how that you're not a real Christian, you're not a real conservative, you're not a real Republican, you're not even a real American. You are exactly what you are, an insurrectionist.